right? Taurus, the sun. So the sun is all about the potential for great happiness. Now I said it's a card of illumination, right? And think about that. When you go out, I don't know, into your garden and it's noon and the sun is high in the sky, you can see every blade of grass clearly, right? This is about everything being revealed. Everyone lays their cards out on the table. It's that kind of energy, no pun intended. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. I just want to talk about the moon for a moment because that's the past or the foundation here. This is also a card of illumination, and yet it illuminates something completely different. It's more about what is not seen rather than what is seen in this. So think about it. You go out into the same garden and the moon, even if it's a full moon and it's high in the sky, you can't see everything clearly. There's shadows everywhere. Might be your own backyard, but you know, it's still frightening. There's shadows out there. You don't know what's in the shadows. And so when the moon comes up, we can't fully trust what we're seeing because it's not like the sun where everything's revealed. We can't fully trust what's seeing. It can be secrets. But the main energy of this card is what is in the shadows. Now, people might say, I don't know. I can't see what's in the shadows. But you can bet that you will come up with a million different reasons of why not to go out in the garden or not to walk down that street where there's too many shadows. There could be a wild dog. There could be someone waiting to attack me. There could be something there that I could trip up on. You know, all of this kind of stuff. Now, when the moon comes up, we go slowly because we don't see things clearly and we're afraid. This is fears. This is doubts. And so it feels like you've been working through a lot of this coming up as the foundation, right? A lot of shadow work. You might have had to confront a lot of your fears. There may have been secrets that have come up that, you know, have confirmed your fears, or those are what you feared anyway. But there's a shift in that now. Right now, this week, we have the sun coming up. So the sun this always serves us because when we looked at our fears and doubts, we looked at everything. Now there's clarity. Now we see the potential for great happiness. Now we see how we're going to go forward. And I always remind everyone, you are the sun in the solar system of your life. So what does the sun do? The sun is life-giving energy. For some of you, you've been wandering around in the shadows for a while now. This is you're out in the sunlight. Now, I always say this, it can be very blinding. When someone turns the lights on, it can be blinding for a moment. So you don't know what, you know, you can't see clearly because the lights have come on suddenly and you've been in the dark for so long. But this is about creation. It's about creative energy, creating that beautiful future that you want. Because like I said, you're the sun. Whatever the sun shines on, it gives life to it. What are you giving life to? What are you giving life to? And it kind of feels, just want to say this, especially with the moon coming up as a past energy, you're coming out of a place or a phase where it just felt like nothing's ever going to grow here again. You know, it's always going to be dark. The sun's never going to come out. There's always going to be, I just don't know. I don't know. And this is like, wow, okay, I see a path forward now. I see what I can grow here. I see what, you know, what new projects. I mean, the sun is sometimes seen as the card for like children because you see this mother with her child there. It's growing something new. You see these beautiful sunflowers here. It's innocent. It's childlike energy. It's joy. It's joy returning, which, you know, when you come out of the moon energy, that can be hard to fathom. What would be your first reaction? It is your reaction. It is the Seven of Cups, which is, this is too good to be true. I get that. That's why I went that way around. You can see that, right? If you've been in the dark and suddenly the lights come on, first of all, you can't see things clearly anyway. So even though the lights are now on, you're second guessing. You know, I've been creeping around. I've been trying to figure out where everything is. And now the lights are on and this feels too good to be true. So you may be doing that with the Seven of Cups. You may doubt what it is that you know. But what does the Seven of Cups tell us to do? Sevens are always about re-evaluating. It's where we reassess, re-evaluate, figure out if this is what are we doing? Where are we taking this? We started off with the ace. We got two. I always see the ace to the 4 as the foundation. Then from the 4 to the 7, it's the work that we're putting in, the changes that we create. 7 is where we stop and have a look and think, okay, well, where's this going? Is it headed in the right direction? Are we still on course? And the 7 of Cups is now telling you to consider your options. Do they still make you happy? This path that you've been on, this cycle that you've been on, does it still make you happy? Which dream is worth pursuing? Which dream isn't? Because it's one thing following a dream in the shadows where our fears and doubts are speaking up. But now, because we see the potential for what can be created, the options that you have available to you, are they still viable? So the Seven of Cups is that. It's about discerning what is fantasy, what is illusion, and which is a dream worth pursuing. Now, what's the difference there? Fantasy and illusion is bullshit, and we know it is. Whereas when we know which is a dream worth pursuing, that becomes our goal. That becomes our mission. That's what's going to get us out of bed in the morning. That's what gets us to act. And that's the difference of the Seven of Cups. Is it just all fluff and talk? And I mean, have a look at her. She's riding a bloody dragon over a rainbow that's coming out of a cup. It's not very practical, right? So it can be that, you know, what is worth pursuing here? What is just fantasy and fluff? What is real? And it feels like you do that this week. And beautiful. I love this, the Sun here and the Page of Pentacles, because if this is about what you can grow now, the potential for great happiness, how you can move forward, how there's sunlight everywhere, right? If you have that, then obviously it stands to reason the Page of Pentacles comes in, because I see the Page of Pentacles as very similar to the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles actually, for me, is the minor arcana energy of the Sun, the potential in that seed. What seed are you going to plant now? That's why it's so important to know where you're trying to go, what you're trying to build out of this. I can't stress this enough, Taurus, especially if you start off the week and you're not quite sure. You have come out of that dark phase. Now, there will always be dark phases, you know. The light, it's like day and night, right? There's always going to be day. There's always going to be night. But you are moving into this kind of place of daylight, of light, of potential, of happiness, of building something, of growing something. Not just fumbling around in the darkness, which is what's been happening. But what is it that you want to grow? And I always see that pentacles, they can be like that seed, right? You can plant a tiny little seed, but that seed has the potential to grow into something, a tree even. Out of something tiny, you can grow a whole tree. So the Page of Pentacles is starting small. It is starting small. But whatever it is that you're trying to create, this is the week to get the ball rolling. To get the ball rolling. Now, the thing is, when we see the potential, when we realize I want to grow this, I want to create this, the biggest, and I can tell you this as a reader, as someone who's been reading for other people since 1996, I can tell you this. It's the biggest pitfall and it's the biggest disservice that I think the tarot does for people too, is when people come to the tarot to get a guarantee. Where is this going? What's going to come of this? That's not the point of this. The point of your reading is, what's your vision? What do you see? What's the potential here that you see? And what action are you taking? What are you doing? What seeds are you sowing to get that to happen? I mean, the Page of Pentacles is the student. Some of you might think about studying something, right? The Page of Pentacles, I always see it as someone who they commit. I'm committing to put in the work to get this done. And I'm going to take the first steps now. That's the Page of Pentacles. It's the initial steps that we take to create this. And it's beautiful. It is beautiful. But it could kind of throw you off a little bit. God, I hope no one's throwing up. But, you know, it could throw you off a little bit with this. It's too good to be true because of the contrast. You see it here. Night and day. And it is night or day difference. And it's like, seriously, have I just lost my mind? Trust me, there's a few of us that have felt insane this past week. But with the Page of Pentacles come out, you can do something. There's some action that can be taken. Very practical steps. Pentacles always things that we can see, feel, and touch. Where does that lead once you start there? It sets you off in a whole different direction. We have the Knight of Wands coming in here. Let's talk about, I haven't really talked about the signs at all. We have Leo. We have Pisces. We have fire energy here. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But remember, what do I always say? The signs don't own the cards. They just lend their characteristics to it. Or to the cards, right? And so the Knight of Wands is someone who is the adventurer, is the explorer. Wants to go in a new direction, wants to go and experience something new. He's all about the experience. He doesn't care where it's going to end up. He doesn't care where it's going. He just wants to enjoy what he's doing now. He wants to, you know, get something out of his experience. Very kind of Sagittarian energy, and we are in Sagittarius season. But think about it. If you told him about a dream, if he saw a vision, he's going to go for it. The Knight of Wands is the person who goes for it. He's very fast moving. I often think the Knight of Swords is a little bit faster than the Knight of Wands, but he's up there. He's quite fast as well. This is slow energy. Slow energy. But it kind of feels like once you get that ball moving, it picks up and it has the opportunity to go very quickly if that's what you want. It's about picking your dream though, right? And taking steps towards that. What's your advice? Your advice is the Four of Wands. And the Four of, I mean, at a very mundane level, the Four of Wands can be a house move, a job move. But I kind of feel what it's telling you here is all of this, the soul searching, the shadow work, the fears and looking at the fears and doubts, you know, whatever, you might have been working on something in secret, whatever it is, it's given you a solid foundation. That's what the Four of Wands says. The Four of Wands tells you you have a solid foundation here. It comes from this, comes right out of this. So when we get to here, it says, first of all, be grateful for how far you've come. Appreciate this, celebrate the foundation, celebrate what you've been through. And I know it's hard. You know, some people are like, well, I want to get going. I want to do something else. No. First of all, gratitude, appreciation for how far you've come and what you've learned from that. It's given you a very solid foundation. The Four of Wands always says that. And fours are always about pausing. Take a pause here now. Appreciate how far you've come. Some of you from this, I mean, because this is the advice of how to get to that future. You might decide to take a pause from whatever it's trying to build by going traveling, going on vacation. The Knight of Wands is that kind of, it can be literally traveling, right? A dream destination. That's kind of what's coming up for some people. Very mundane messages though. I'd like to read the energies. But if I see a specific message, I will give it. But with the moon coming up here, it's whatever you went through here. And I know this was hard. This dark night of the soul energy, right? It's given you a solid foundation. Now from this, it's like, what do we do next? What's the plan? How do we act? And think about it. If you have a solid foundation, you've got a solid, a stable basis on which to build. So it doesn't matter so much. Because the problem with the Page and the Knight of Pentacles a little bit, they want guarantees of where they're going. That's why they take a lot of time looking at the fine print, figuring out the details. What next step should I take? But the Page of Pentacles here, it could be an offer. Maybe you offering something to someone or you receiving an offer. But I'm not seeing that because it's about giving life to something, growing something that is this dream, the dream that you have. And that's what, then you have that Knight of Wands, go for it energy, new experience. With the Knight of Wands, it's never doing the same thing again. It's that if you keep doing what you did, you're going to keep getting what you got. So let's go for a brand new experience. If you want a brand new experience, if you want to have a different experience in your life, then you have to do different things, right? Thank you so much to everyone that's been there with me. Whether this is the first video that you're ever watching of mine or whether you've been there with me from before YouTube was even a thing in the Aquarian Insight world, because I've had my website for quite a few years now. Some of you followed me on there when that was all that I was doing. I'm so blessed that you guys are all a part of my journey and totally and completely honored that you would make me and my messages a part of your journey. I never take that for granted. So I love you guys very much. I will see you next time, but that's all for now. Goodbye.